Welcome again to Aust Law Simplified. Today's lesson is about focus on questions and answers explained. So this one is about, at common law, a tenant is allowed to remove fixtures that they have installed, provided they are for trade, domestic, or ornamental purposes. This is justified because it encourages tenants to improve property without fear of losing their investment. However, the right endures only until the lease ends or for a short reasonable period afterwards. Next question: what contractual terms need to be established in order for an equitable right to remove to be recognized? For an equitable right of removal, the contract must expressly state that the chattel remains personal property. It must also show that ownership is retained by the installer and include a right to remove. Without these terms, the fixture may be treated as part of the land. Question is, does A have any right to reclaim its industrial equipment? This problem illustrates the difficulty between contractual terms and property law. Although A's contract allows reclaiming the equipment, once B affixes it to the land with the intention of permanence, it may become a fixture. If it is a fixture, the equipment passes with the land to D when C exercises its mortgage, unless A can rely on clear contractual terms protecting ownership. A's claim will likely fail. Question is, what is the difference between a fixture and a chattel? A fixture is an item attached to land with the intention of permanent improvement, and it becomes part of the land. A chattel is a movable item that is not intended to remain permanently. This distinction is important in property law disputes. What is the threefold classification of fixtures adopted by Lloyd in Elitestone versus Morris, and do you agree with it? In Elitestone versus Morris, Lloyd distinguished three categories: pure chattels, fixtures, and items so integrated that they are part of the land itself. This approach considers both the degree and the purpose of annexation. It is widely accepted because it recognizes practical differences between temporary and permanent additions to land. What are the consequences of adverse possession for a paper title holder vested in possession? When the limitation period expires, the paper title holder loses their legal title. The adverse possessor may apply to become the registered owner. This encourages owners to actively manage and protect their land rights. When will the limitation period commence on claims of adverse possession? Well, the limitation period for adverse possession begins when the true owner is dispossessed or ceases possession, and the possessor takes factual exclusive control inconsistent with the owner's rights. What factors might be relevant to a determination that a paper title holder has given implied consent to a possession? Implied consent arises where the owner's behavior suggests acceptance of another's occupation. For example, failing to object or allowing the possessor to continue using the land. This can defeat an adverse possession claim because possession must be adverse, not consensual. What is the effect of abandonment on an adverse possession claim? If the possessor abandons the land, the continuity of adverse possession is broken. This means the limitation period restarts if possession is later resumed. Continuous occupation is essential for a successful claim. Does X have a claim for adverse possession? Grazing license case is the key. In this case, X's license expired in 1993. From then until 2005, he remained on the land openly and exclusively for 12 years. This is sufficient to satisfy the limitation period for adverse possession. Therefore, X is likely to succeed in claiming adverse possession. Can Z object to Y's claim for adverse possession? Where Y had already satisfied the requirements for adverse possession before X sold to Z, Y's rights are protected. Under the Transfer of Land Act in Victoria, Z takes the land subject to rights of the adverse possessor. Therefore, Z cannot object if Y has completed the adverse possession period. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next lesson.